Hello, my name is Tawana Brown, and I serve as the Assistant Director in Parent and Family Programs. Thank you so much for tuning into our UA 27 webinar series. If you have not watched our previous series, please go back and watch those. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about what you should expect as you and your student prepare for orientation. And so we have someone from the Office of OSP, Liz Vahi, and then we have Dana, who will talk a little bit about the parent perspective for parent and family orientation. And so Dana, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, thanks so much, Tawana. Yes, my name is Dana Beckers, and I am actually the new Director of Parent and Family Programs. I just started 3 weeks ago. So I'm new to University of Alabama and new to this role. And I will explain a lot of things on the parent side of orientation to you, but Liz and Tawana are our experts, and so they may jump in when I'm talking and to do a little bit of a clarification since I am new to this role. But I'm going to let Liz also introduce herself to you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Liz Vihil. I'm the Associate Director of Orientation and Special Programs. So I do oversee all of our BAMA Bound orientation, as well as our sibling orientation. And I'm excited to share with you some information to help you prepare.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get right into it. Here's a little bit of an overview of what we are doing today. We're going to give you a little bit on terms and things to know for BAMA Bound, those things you may not know about. New student BAMA Bound orientation. We're going to talk to you about everything. Liz is going to talk to you about everything that your student needs for a BAMA Bound orientation. And then we're going to have a time where I talk about the parent and family part of orientation and what it's about, where you need to be, how do you register, and topics that are going to be covered. So here's our first part is our terms to know. So MyBama is our portal for students, and your student is going to get to MyBama from the ua.edu website. So when we talk about MyBama, there is lots and lots of very valuable information in MyBama. Your student has probably already been in MyBama, and that is where most things springboard from. There is the orientation registration system, and that is in MyBama, and that is a system that your student is going to register themselves in for parent and family orientation. The orientation portal, that portal is accessed through the orientation confirmation email that the student received in the pre-orientation checklist is there. So when we refer to that, that's what that means. Crimson email is the email that your student will be checking the whole time they're here at the University of Alabama, and that's also found in MyBama. And we talk a little bit about DegreeWorks. That is something that's also in MyBama, and it is a place where students can see their progress as far as time that they're here at the university, and they're going to be able to find a few key things there. Crimson Connection is our parent and family e-newsletter that we send out. And so when we talk about that, that's what it is. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Liz, and she's going to talk first about the orientation side for the student, the BAMA Bound orientation side. Take it away, Liz.
Great. Thanks so much, Dana. We are super excited to talk about BAMA Bound. It is our favorite time of the year over here, and our team has been preparing for the last several months for you and your students. So we'll go ahead and get started with some of that information. So what to know before orientation? There are a lot of things to know, but we really tried to size this down as something that's a little easier to remember. The language that we're going to use here is for you to prep yourself to take back to your student and say, this is what you need to know. So this is very much putting you in that role of helping them. So the first thing we're going to recommend is that they know their MyBama login by memory. Knowing this MyBama login is what's going to enable them to set up their identification card for the university, which is known as their action card. This is set up through their mobile phone, and so knowing their MyBama login will help them speed along this process. It'll let them register for classes when they are here during BAMA Bound. This is what they'll use to help them register for football tickets. In order to register for football tickets, which opens up in June, they do have to be registered for BAMA Bound. So that's very, very important for all our students we know. This is also what they'll use to help them buy their parking permits when it comes time for that. Another thing that they are going to want to know is their campus-wide identification number. Anywhere they come to us, whether it's at Bama Bound or any other office, financial aid, student account services, they are going to be asked what their CWID is. And again, that's that campus-wide identification number. Another thing for them to know before they get to orientation is whether that's the right major. So we know that, they have planned for that and applied for it, but we want them to take that time and for you all to have those conversations with them, whether this is the correct career pathway for them. Take a look at the academic catalog, look at the courses that are set up for them for their future and say, is this really what I want to do after I'm finished? Or is this what I want to study for the next 4 years of my life? Because once they get here to Bama Bound, this is them really stepping into that next phase of their life. So have those discussions, figure this out, look at all the tools that are available. And I'll show you some in just a bit where you can find that information. Next thing is if you are choosing to stay overnight on campus, whether it is your student or you yourself as a parent or family member, please know that those residence hall rooms that you have registered for or paid for as part of your orientation registration do not have toiletries, linens, pillows, towels, or anything else. It is pretty much just a bare room. We love our residence halls, but please know that they are set up for students who are moving all of their things in fall and spring semesters. And so make sure that you bring all of those things with you. The linens you'll need are going to be twin XL. And in addition to that, our residence hall areas, they do not rent linens. And so be aware of that. Any of our sessions from May to July, that is when we'll have accommodations available. And be aware that students and family members that have requested housing, you will not be staying in the same suite or room. And so you will be divided. We promise that students will have a really great experience, and family members, you will be paired with other family members for also an equally great experience. Last thing to know that's pretty big is that event information emails are sent to students 5 to 10 days prior to their orientation. And so that is going to include things like directions to campus, information about when check-in starts, where they need to go, where you need to park, and anything else like that. So if you could go to the next slide, Dana. Okay, so what to do before orientation. So again, get familiar with MyBama. That is one of the biggest things you will hear from us. One of the areas that most offices are going to direct a student to change their major, to look at their financial aid, to see their account balance, to log into their class systems, anything like that. Clicking around MyBama now is a great practice to get yourself in the mode of what it means to be a college student. The next thing is going to be to check your Crimson email account. At least once a week up to Bama Bound. Some colleges, some programs that your students are a part of may send information emails leading up to Bama Bound. And then again, looking out for that Bama Bound event information email. And then we're also going to recommend that students check that email every day after their orientation session as they get closer to August, because their student bills will start coming out, housing information will start coming out, and anything else that is inviting them to events. And as a student, we really recommend they check their email every day. So getting in that habit now sets them up for that success. Orientation portal, like Dana mentioned, it is what will be given access to them through that confirmation email for their orientation registration. So again, that new student checklist, it has about 7 to 8 steps on there so that they can set themselves up again for that success. If they're having some issues looking at that, it's also available on the orientation website in a more abbreviated form. The one that is specifically for each student is in their orientation portal, and they're going to use that same login that they used for their admissions portal. That is different from MyBama. So if you have issues with that login, please reach out to us and we will help you figure that out. Next thing is submitting that action card photo. So like I said, our action cards, our student ID cards, are digital mobile cards. On the action card website, you will find all of that information, how to download the eAccounts app on your smartphone so that you can set that up on your mobile phone, how to download the Duo app, everything on the action card website, and the links and information to that are in that orientation checklist in the orientation portal. Lots of words, lots of places to click. I know, bear with us. Next thing again is looking through that degree catalog, which is DegreeWorks, and I'll show you where you can find that so that you can see, again, like I said, that required academic coursework that is not only going to help you plan for advising at Bama Bound, but it's also going to help you figure out if this is really something that you want to take on for the rest of your life. Next thing, so let's say you did all this, you looked through the DegreeWorks, you decided it's not for you. If you need to change your major, you can do that through MyBama prior to orientation. Super easy, simple process to do. And again, I'll show you that in just a bit where you can take care of it. Next thing you're going to do is going to be submit those immunization forms through the student tab in MyBama, listed under that student health center and pharmacy section. If you have questions specifically about immunizations, definitely reach out to the student health center and they will be happy to answer all of those questions, including what is required, where you can get a TB test nearby in town, and anything like that. The last thing on here is going to be to do those math and foreign language assessments. And so in the next slide, we'll talk about math placement exams. So Dana, if you could hit that next slide for me. So this math placement exam, so this is a screenshot directly from the math website where you can find information about this. Like it says on this slide, it is required for all test optional students. So if your student applied and did not submit an ACT or SAT score, they were admitted as a test optional student. So they will be required to take this. Emails will be sent out with instructions on how to access the exam at least 21 days before their orientation session. Now, even though it says on here, it should be completed at least 1 week prior. Once they get that email, we highly recommend that they take it. It can be taken up to twice without special permission from the math department. So we encourage them to take it at a time where they are relaxed, not super stressing about their orientation being in a week, because we know that that comes with some significant nervousness. So definitely take that exam as soon as they can. If your student is not test optional, so let's say that they were admitted to the university with their test scores and they're interested in taking the math placement exam, they also can take that exam. It can only help them. It won't hurt them. So the math department, when they do these assessments of these exams, they will take the higher of the two scores. And so any questions about that, you can reach out to us or your student's recruiter that they help them with admissions, and we will be happy to help them out. On the next slide, the foreign language placement exam. So this is for students with more than 2 high school units of that French, German, Spanish, or Latin. They're recommended that they should take that placement examination. You can find information about that on the Modern Languages and Classics website. So that link is pasted down there at the bottom. And that is going to actually be accessible through the MyBama also. And we'll talk about that because MyBama is actually the next slide that I wanted to give you a view of what your students' MyBama is going to look like. So the infamous MyBama that we have talked about so much already, I've put some yellow boxes around several of these spaces that are important for your student. So on this left-hand side, after your student logs into MyBama, you'll see these quick links where you say academic calendar, Blackboard Learn, DegreeWorks. So DegreeWorks is that big one that I was talking about where your student can view the academic coursework that is required for their current degree program. They can look at what if scenarios, if they do this, if they do that. They can begin to develop ideas about what courses they might want to take for this semester or any future semesters. It's a good way to really have that hands-on approach to your own degree and your own future, really. Down underneath that, there's a section that says pages. So this is where admissions and scholarships is going to be a big one. That is where you'll find the orientation registration system. That is where you'll find the foreign language placement exam. But the tab we're currently looking at is student. And so you'll see there at the top, it says student. So this is where you'll see that academic and student services section. I've opened up the academic records and curriculum area. Right under that is DegreeWorks. And then right below that is proxy access. So I know that parent family programs during their orientation goes over FERPA and what it means, but proxy access is if you as a parent need access to helping your student, having information about maybe their student bill, financial aid, your student will have to use that link to sign someone up for proxy access. And so it's a good space for you to know where that is as well. Blackboard is their course learning space. And so that's just good verbiage for you to know where it is, how they can access that, because that is where they will take their math placement exam through. And then on the far right side, the Student Health Center and Pharmacy, that is where they will go to upload those immunization forms that they're required to turn in prior to the start of classes. All right, our next slide, we're going to talk about what to bring with you. So like I said, in that email that you get prior to orientation with the event information, you will get directions to campus. We recommend that you bring those with you, print them out. We know how technology can be sometimes. You're going to want to know a couple places. So the Student Center parking deck is a big one, or our Ridgecrest South or West residence halls. If you are checking in prior to your orientation session starting, you'll want to go directly to a residence hall. If you are coming the morning of the start of your orientation session, you're going to want to go directly to the parking deck. And so just depending on what those are, you'll want to know those locations. An umbrella or a raincoat, it definitely rains a lot. I was surprised when I moved here to Alabama, the amount that it rains. And so please make sure that you are prepared for that. Comfortable shoes is definitely a big one. You will be walking a lot. I know a lot of our students like to dress up or otherwise, but please wear comfortable shoes. It is a very walkable campus and we make use of it. Water bottle, again, humidity is a killer. If you've never dealt with humidity or lived anywhere where there is humidity, highly recommend staying hydrated. Technology, laptops are required in many colleges for course registration, so we recommend that you do bring one. If you don't have one, we will have some available for rent. But again, we encourage any student that has a device to bring their own. Light jacket or sweatshirt. Outside it's very, very hot, and inside it is likely very, very cold. So if you are somebody who gets cold easily, please bring a light jacket or sweatshirt. A form of identification, any special admission documents or unofficial transcripts, including maybe test scores that you might have taken, AP scores, if these have not been finalized yet. And then again, those housing needs, if you're staying on campus, please don't forget those. Okay, let's talk a little bit about advising, because we know that so many students are excited to be at Bama Bound to register for their classes. So once again, students can only be advised for and register for their courses during Bama Bound. They have to be present. Nobody else can do it for them. It must be the student themselves. So checking that email and degree works are very, very important. Some colleges will reach out with course suggestions for students or instructions on steps that they might take to prepare for advising. And it's also good practice, again, for students to begin mapping those options for their academic coursework. It will help put them in the role of being the one to lead those conversations. Advisors are there to help recommend, but at the end of the day, is the students, their future is in their hands. And so we want to get them prepped for being in that mode. During college advising, they will be taken all together in their college groups. And so during these spaces, there will be a mixture of one-on-one time and group time during advising. So just be aware of that. Our orientation sessions are pretty large. And so depending on what college your student is a part of, they will see that mixture. One thing that families and students tend to be surprised at is that there are a variety of class delivery formats. So what that means is there are classes on Fridays, there are classes at 8 a.m., there are online classes still. And so all class options are good options. I think it's really great for students to experience a variety of modes of delivery, because that sets them up for success in the workplace in the future, because we do things so frequently over Zoom calls, we do things very, very early. And so we definitely want students to come into this advising and registration process with the mindset of, my schedule will likely not be everything afternoon and everything exactly the way they want it. And it's great to, again, come in with that open mind and the expectation that you will get what you need. It might just not be your favorite for your first semester. Changing your major during BAMA Bound will likely impact your advising experience. And so we definitely want to recommend that you have these conversations early. Can you change your major during BAMA Bound? Absolutely. We have a lot of people that recognize that during their first college visit, that maybe this isn't the path for them, and we will help you either way. But we definitely want to encourage as many students as possible to take care of this before they get to BAMA Bound. All right, so some general expectations just for the programming. Students are expected to stay for the entirety of the programming. So if they are a transfer student, that is going to be their full day of a programming. If they are a first-time freshman, that is the full day and a half. If you are planning travel still or have planned travel, that is prior to about 12:30 p.m. leaving Tuscaloosa. We highly recommend that you make adjustments to that because there is an expectation that students are there for the full day and a half of their programming. When we get to BAMA Bound, students will check themselves in, and family members are going to check in at a different table. So we had a few students forget to check themselves in last year because their families checked in at a different table. So please be sure that both students and parents or family members have checked themselves in successfully. This is your first day of college as a student, and so please make good choices. We know that sometimes you feel the freedom of the first day of college, and it's easy to get strayed, maybe make some good choices, some not so good choices that might follow you around. And so please err with caution. We have a lot of great nighttime programming that we would love for you to engage in. So please have fun with us and make those good choices. We recommend that you're going to trust your academic advisors and departments that are there to help you. Trust, they do this every single summer. Every single day they speak with students to help them figure out their future. Even though I said, it's great to put your own future in your hands, know that these people are there to help you. Don't be nervous. Know that tough conversations are to be had, right? So what that means about your future, what classes you're going to take, how many credits you can afford to take, and everything like that. This is what your advisors are there for. So please lean into that and trust them. Really make the most of this experience. So let go of that needing to be cool or wanting to impress. Everyone here is on the same journey of being a brand new student. Our orientation leader team, the Avantis, they are so excited to help lead you through it. So please ask them all of your questions. Challenge yourself to connect with at least 3 new people, right? Somebody from across the country, get to know somebody maybe from your hometown that you never knew. And then during our information fair, which is known as the Capstone Connections Information Fair, talk to at least 4 new tables, get involved, get information, and really, really get yourself out there. And then finally, be ready to say Roll Tide, because we say that like it is the first and only words that we know. So practice it, yell it in the mirror, yell it at your parents, yell it at your dog. Be ready to say Roll Tide about 50 times while you are here.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Oh, there's one more slide. I'm sorry about that.
There's actually 2 more slides. So
more slides.
Sibling orientation. So if you have any students that are rising freshmen through rising seniors, so that means about to start high school or about to finish high school, we do have sibling orientation. So it is $25 per sibling. A parent or guardian has to be present to sign a waiver for this student. And they can register along with the student's orientation registration or the parents and families orientation registration. Please know that this program is separate from students and parents and family members, but it is that opportunity for them to get to experience what it means to be a college student. And then the last one, I promise. I just wanted to touch on this. So maybe you're sitting through this webinar and your student has not yet registered for their orientation, or they have decided that they want to make some changes to the dates. So again, back to this MyBama page. Under the pages, you're going to go to admissions and scholarships this time. And under admitted freshmen next steps, it is the number 3 option to log into that orientation registration system. And for our transfer students, that is going to be option 1 under the orientation registration. if that is the number one place, if you want to change your date, if you want to see if new spots and dates have opened, if you need to register or anything else. But thanks for letting us share some information with your families, Dana and Tawana.
All right, thanks so much too, Liz. So I'm going to now take over the parent and family part of this presentation. And so we're going to talk about the orientation that we are going to be having for our parent and family members. So what do we have? So we have a parent and family orientation is an orientation program specifically for you. And it's for the parent and family members of our incoming UA undergraduates. So the program runs concurrently with Bama Bound. So it's at the same time as your student and with some brief overlapping times. So we have two kinds of sessions that happen during Bama Bound. We have 1-day sessions and we have 2-day sessions. And students go to the type of session that is when they're starting school and or what kind of student they are. So the 1-day session is for transfer students, and they may be a summer or fall start. So they may be going to summer school, or they may be going starting in the fall. And then 1-day session is for the summer term 1 start students. But most of our students are going to be attending a 2-day session. So these are our first year called freshmen, fall start students, and then summer term 2 students. So when? So you might want to know what the schedule is. So if you go to the parent and family website, which is parents.sa.ua.edu, you can go to the orientation tab and dates and schedules, and you'll see all of the things that we will be doing during parent and family orientation. As your student, they will get a confirmation, an email prior to orientation. Parents and family members will also get one that will be separate, and it'll be 7 days prior to orientation. And those emails will have parking and directions, etc. And so who wants to come? Anyone that wants to come to parent and family orientation are welcome to. There is a cost associated with it, so you might want to make sure that you know exactly who is coming to the orientation before paying. The 1-day sessions are at the Student Center, and the 2-day sessions, now remember, this is for the parents and families. The day 1 is at the Student Center, and the day 2 is at the Moody Music Building. So why attend parent and family orientation? One reason is you love your student and you want to learn all about their new home. So we're going to give you lots of information that you want to know. And we're going to tell you things that you're going to hear that your student is also going to be hearing. So that can help reinforce things that they heard during Bama Bound, and they may not necessarily remember, but you can remind them. I heard this during orientation. You're going to have access to our campus partners and their presentations that are going to be able to give you specifics on how we help your student. You're going to be able to chance to visit with your student's academic college or school, talk with current students and hear about their experiences, and connect with parent and family programs, connect with other parents and us. And, you know, we are always here for you. So how do I register? How do we register for parent and family programs? There's 2 ways to do that. Your student can register you as a parent or family member during the time that they are registering for orientation. And so that's the first way. If your student is not sure if you or your other members of their family may be attending orientation, it can happen, the registration can happen later. So when your student registers themselves, they will create a guest login toward the end of their registration. That guest login is how a parent will then register, parent or family member will register at a later time. So the parent and family member registers at a different time, and you go to our website on the orientation tab and use that guest login to be able to register. So the big trick here is to make sure that your student remembers their guest login. So keep in mind that registration fees are non-refundable. So that's why it's very important to know exactly who will be going. And so if there is someone that is not sure that they will be attending, to maybe register a little bit later. So our costs are $80 per family member to attend. So there is a cost to the parent and family orientation, and mainly because we have to run our program. It's kind of like a conference. We have to pay for materials, space rental, meals. We pay for our student staff. And then a portion of our fee, the fee for the parent and family orientation, goes to running communication programming. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. Remember that the fees are non-refundable. There is on-site registration if necessary. Families in financial need may apply for a fee waiver, and you can do that at our website. So, if that's something that you might want to do, you can do that on our website under the registration area of orientation. So here's what we're going to be doing. We're not going to go through this really detailed, but during our 2-day sessions, we have, the program starts at 8. Now, keep in mind, there's sometimes where the program starts and ends at a little bit different of a time than your student. So that's going to be important. But we have lots of sessions. And as you can see, we're going to talk about financial aid, how to pay for college, way to pay a UA. We're going to talk about safety, talk about lots of residential and housing things. So there's a lot of different sessions that are going to be very helpful to you as a parent or family member. Then day 2, we have more things that are happening, and we have some panel discussions. So you will have a chance to ask a lot of questions to some of our experts, and it will fly. The sessions will fly quicker than you would even think. And so end of day 2, you'll meet up with your student later on, and it'll be a wonderful 2 days for everyone. Our 1-day session are for mostly our transfer students and those summer term 1 students. So it's a 1-day session that has a little bit everything more of a compact time frame. And so transfer student parents have a little bit different kind of a viewpoint. Their student has already been through college, at least one university, but we do have a lot of the same type of sessions for those students, for those parents and family members at the 1-day session. So we did this twice. UA Crimson Connection. So I talked about that some of our the money that is part of the parent and family registration goes toward our publication. So we have something called Crimson Connection, and it is an email newsletter to parents and families, and you're going to get it all year long. So you're going to have the opportunity to sign up for Crimson Connection. You can do it off of our website now if you'd like to, or you can go straight to ua.campusesp.com and start getting the newsletters now if you'd like. And so we have them going on all the time. It's customizable in a way that you can choose to get one once a week, or you can get one once a month. And you can also choose certain areas that you can learn more about in the newsletter. So for example, if you want to know more about student success and what are the things that would help your student be successful on campus, then you can choose that type of area. If you want to know more about athletics, you can do that. So Crimson Connection, UA Crimson Connection is our parent e-newsletter. So what else do you need to know? So first and foremost, absolutely make sure that you know what orientation session that your student registered for. Your student can do that and check it by confirming that by going to that orientation confirmation email that came 24 hours after registration of orientation. You are going to be copied on that email, and your student has it as well. At that email, you can log into the orientation portal and confirm what session, because you may think it's a 2-day session, but your student may be going to a 1-day session. You may think it's at a certain date, but it may be a different date that your student signed up for. So before you make flight and travel arrangements, hotel arrangements, anything, make sure that you know the format, if it's a 1-day or a 2-day, and the dates, so that if it's June, 6th and 7th, whichever ones it is, make sure you're aware of which the dates are. If your student changes their Bama Bound session, any associated registrations will also, for parent and family members, will be changed to the new session. So parent and family members don't go separate from their student, they're connected. Once a student is registered, students will receive a parent family member parent family member is copied, and immediate confirmation by email of that student registration. And I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. So if you have a parent family members have some information regarding accessibility, diet related requests, and other like an interpreter accommodation, you can send an email to the parent email address right here, and we will help take care of you. There is an additional electronic confirmation packet that goes May 2nd, which is very soon, out to your student. And so that has other information for them about orientation. Parents and family receive orientation details 7 days prior to orientation. So we also have the what to bring. Refillable water bottle is great, and making sure that you as a parent and family member are also dressed appropriately. It's hot during the summer and it's cold inside, and make sure that you have some walking shoes. So we will be walking to a few different buildings, and you want to make sure that you're able to do that. Be ready for the rain as well. So it does rain some bit in the summer here in Alabama. After orientation, you will be able to access the UA Crimson email and complete the parent and family orientation evaluation. If you have any questions, you are welcome to ask both Bama Bound New Student Orientation and Parent and Family Orientation. Here are all of our contact information, and so that you can ask us specific questions if you have anything about orientation. We are so glad that you have been with us, and we are today for our video webinar, and we are so excited to welcome you to the UA family and your student. And before you know it, it will be time for orientation. And roll tide.
Roll tide. Thank you. So great presentation, you all. Thank you for all of that great information. Liz, I had one question for you, and this is something that I got last year from a few students and parents and family members and friends. So if the student is here, you mentioned football tickets, right? And so if a student is here and it's that day that they are able to register for football tickets, will they still be able to do that while being at orientation?
Yes, so last year it actually happened early in the morning during check-in, and so several students just plopped themselves down wherever they were, literally in any walkway, any space, and did it right then and there on their phone. So they are definitely still able to do that if that falls on an orientation date.
Thank you so much for that. Well, again, thank you so much, families, parents, and friends. As both Liz and Dana said, we're so excited to have you join us. We look forward to seeing you soon. And before we wrap up, a good roll tide. Awesome. Y'all have an amazing day.